Hey everyone, and welcome back. Tesla's been making headlines again, and with their big robo-taxi event right around the corner, well, let's just say the speculation is at an all-time high.
And it's not just about the robo-taxis, right? This latest Morgan Stanley report you sent over really digs into the whole AI game and how it all ties back to Musk's other big venture, xAI.
Yeah, this report is seriously interesting. It basically says that the future of Tesla, like their whole future, depends on them cracking the code on autonomous everything.
Autonomous everything, exactly. Cars, robots, you name it. But the key ingredient, AI. And that's where things get a little head-scratchy, at least at first glance.
Right. Like, if AI is so make or break for Tesla, why spin off xAI as a separate company? Wouldn't it make more sense to keep all that brainpower under one roof?
See, that's Musk thinking a few steps ahead, playing that long game he's known for.
Always the long game with him.
Think about it. To build the kind of AI that's going to revolutionize, well, everything, you need to attract the best of the best, the rock stars of the AI world.
Okay, so far so good.
But here's the thing. Some of those AI geniuses, they might not be that interested in working for a car company, even one as cutting edge as Tesla.
I can see that.
So xAI becomes this independent powerhouse, a magnet specifically for the kind of talent that wants to push the boundaries of AI itself, not just AI for cars.
So it's less about cars and more about
Yeah.
brains.
Exactly. Plus, let's not forget about the funding side of things. Venture capitalists, they're more likely to throw billions at a company laser-focused on AI breakthroughs,
That makes sense.
as opposed to, say, an AI department within a larger company, even if that company is Tesla.
So xAI is like this separate but very strategic weapon in Tesla's arsenal.
You nailed it. The report doesn't get into the nitty-gritty of the financials just yet, but it definitely hints that xAI could be a game changer when it comes to attracting both the talent and the capital to, really catapult Tesla's AI ambitions to the next level.
And speaking of next level, this is where the report took a turn for the, sci-fi. We need to talk about 100,000, a whole lot of GPUs, and a code name that sounds like it's straight out of a comic book. Colossus. Okay, 100,000 H100 GPUs. I admit I had to look that one up. We're talking about serious processing power here, right? Like way beyond what I'm using to record this podcast. What for those of us who aren't AI engineers?
You're right. It's not about the numbers themselves, but what those numbers allow xAI to do. Think of it this way. Each of those GPUs is like a mini brain, and when you have 100,000 of them working together, you can create these incredibly complex virtual worlds that are essential for training AI, especially when it comes to something like autonomous driving.
So you're saying they're basically building a digital sandbox for Tesla's AI to play in?
Exactly. But this isn't just any sandbox. This is a sandbox where a self-driving car can practice navigating a million different scenarios a million times over without ever leaving the digital world. Colossus lets them throw every possible situation at their AI snowstorms, traffic jams, even that squirrel that always tries to cross the road at the worst possible moment and see how it reacts.
That makes sense, especially when you consider how much emphasis Tesla puts on real-world data. It's like they're taking their data-driven approach and applying it to the virtual world as well.
And that's what makes this so fascinating. This isn't just about Tesla building robots or even self-driving cars. This is about them potentially pushing the boundaries of AI as a whole. But there's another layer to this that I know you're thinking about.
Oh, you know me too well. I'm all for pushing boundaries, but with great power comes, well, a pretty hefty energy bill. The report mentioned something about Colossus's energy consumption, and it didn't sound small.
Yeah, let's talk about that. There's no getting around it. Colossus is an energy hog. Think tens of thousands of homes worth of electricity just to keep those GPUs running 24/7. It's a real concern, especially as we talk about AI as a potential solution for things like climate change and sustainability.
It's like we're trying to build a more sustainable future, but the tools we need require a whole lot of unsustainable energy.
It's definitely a paradox, and the report doesn't shy away from that. But here's the thing to remember. We're still in the early days of this technology. Think about how much more energy efficient our smartphones are today compared to those clunky cell phones from the 90s.
Okay, that's a good point. So maybe there's hope that we can innovate our way to a more energy-efficient AI future.
Exactly. And it's a conversation that's already happening. Companies are exploring things like using renewable energy to power their data centers and developing new, more efficient hardware. It's a challenge, no doubt, but one that we need to address head-on if we want to unlock the full potential of AI. But speaking of unlocking potential, this brings us to a really interesting concept that the report highlights, something called the three-computer problem.
The three-computer problem. Okay, now you've got my attention. 3 computers to run 1 robot. It sounds like we're reinventing the wheel, or the robot in this case.
It's not about reinventing. It's about understanding the different levels of processing that a truly intelligent robot needs. Think of it this way. For a robot to function in the real world, it needs to think on its feet, it needs to be trained on a massive amount of data, and it needs a safe space to practice and make mistakes without, causing any real-world chaos.
Okay, so break it down for me. What are these 3 magical computers, and what do they actually do?
All right, so computer number 1. The one inside the robot itself, the one making those split-second decisions. This is all about real-time processing, reacting to the environment, that kind of thing.
So this is the robot's actual brain, the one keeping it from running into walls.
Exactly. But that brain needs to learn somewhere, right? And that's where computer number 2 comes in. The heavy hitter, the massive data center where the AI models are trained.
Ah, so this is where Colossus comes in, right?
Yeah.
Crunching all that data, teaching the robots how to be, robots.
You got it. But there's a third piece to this puzzle, and this is where things get really interesting, especially in the context of what we were just talking about with those simulated worlds.
Okay, you're talking about computer number 3 now, the one that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
Precisely. This is the simulation computer, the one that creates those virtual sandboxes where AI models can practice and refine their skills without, crashing into a real-life fire hydrant every 5 minutes.
So 1 computer for real-time action, 1 for heavy-duty training, and 1 for virtual reality robot boot camp.
You're getting it. And for a long time, this third computer, the simulation one, it just couldn't keep up with the other 2.
Because let's face it, building a computer that can simulate reality is, really, really hard.
It's incredibly complex. But here's the thing. It's getting easier, or at least the technology is catching up. And with companies like xAI investing heavily in this area, well, the potential is huge.
So we've got these increasingly sophisticated robots, massive data centers training their AI, and now simulated worlds where they can practice their skills.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're building the foundation for a whole lot of automation, to put it mildly.
And that's where the real-world implications of this technology start to sink in. This isn't just about making cool robots. It's about fundamentally changing the way we live, work, and interact with the world around us. It's about the kind of future that Tesla and xAI seem determined to build.
Well, one thing's for sure. After this deep dive, I'm seeing the future a little differently. From robotaxis to supercomputers to the very nature of intelligence itself, we've covered a lot of ground today. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and we'll catch you next time.